What up, K-Rugs, the sober dog, coming at ya, freezing, Rochester, New York, yeah! Hey, hit that like, that subscribe, help me get more content out there, I would really appreciate it. Today's video, justification. Excuses, justification, sometimes we use different names, but this is something that pretty much all of us do, on a daily basis. I do it all the time. Hey, I could have that second piece of peanut butter pie. And I went to the gym 3 times this week. We justify behaviors, different things like that. But as addicts, we do it a lot. Addicts in active addiction will justify anything and everything they can to, explain that behavior, to try to get away with it. Now, justification can be positive or negative. I'm going on spring break, so, I could spend an extra hour at the gym. It's a little bit of a positive thing, as long as it's not affecting other behaviors. And then the negative, like the chocolate pie thing that I just said. But what it is the psych field, they call it cognitive dissonance, which is like, basically the state of having inconsistent thoughts or beliefs with your normal, thoughts or belief systems. So, an addict wouldn't just say, drugs, I know drugs are terrible and it's destroying my life, and just leave it at that. There's usually a but. Drugs are terrible and destroying your life, but I'm in a lot of pain, I need them, but blah, blah, blah. So, my morals and my beliefs tell me it's bad, I shouldn't be doing it, but I justify it. That's what the whole cognitive dissonance thing is and explains. Now, as far as what specific, justifications are used by addicts and why they do it, is most people, and myself included, believe that when I was saying something or justifying it, it was for, I'm justifying it to my parents or to my friends or to whoever. And part of that's true. I'd say to my parents, well, I need to get high because of the pain. I need these pills because of the pain. But in reality, and something I never wanted to admit, and many addicts don't, and most, people in general really don't, is the justification isn't for others. It's for us. So, when I say, oh, I really need the pills because I'm in pain, I say that to my parents, I'm really trying to tell myself. Because back to that cognitive dissonance, that's an uncomfortable feeling. When you're doing something or saying something that is kind of against your own thoughts or beliefs, we don't want to be in that uncomfortable state. So our brain will justify it, and that's why we justify it. So when I'm saying those things about the pills and I need it, I'm in pain, I'm saying that more for myself to try to justify it. And at the time, I'm not paying attention, or I think I'm doing it for them, but no, I'm really doing it for me. Now, some common justifications addicts use. There's a million of them, but here's just some common ones. This is how I've always been. It's not going to change. That people use that all the time. I used that for a while. It's a cop-out. This is how I've always been. I've heard that a lot with like smokers. I've always smoked, so there's no way I'm gonna quit. Well, with that attitude, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna, and no one's gonna. Next one, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm miserable, I'm lonely, fill in the blank, I'm blah, blah, blah. Drugs and alcohol are the only thing that helps. That's just another excuse, justification we're telling ourselves of why we need it. There's things we got to do to fix or to cure or to work on depression, anxiety, loneliness, miserable. Everybody goes through different things. Drugs and alcohol aren't the answer. The fuck it's. This is a big one. It can't get any worse. Or, fuck it, I've already, had 10 beers today. I might as well go out and do a gram of dope. The fuck it's, a lot of people get that. I've gotten it a bunch of times, during active addiction and, one of my relapses. These can be brutal because it's like, I've already taken one step back, so screw it, I'll take another 20 back. And that's just an awful justification because it always just makes the damage 100 times worse. This one is, I think a huge one for anybody, addiction, is I'll just do less, or I'll control it, or I'll just drink less, or get won't do as much drugs in the future. I think pretty much every addict or alcoholic has that period or that stage. I know I did multiple times where I think I could control it, or go out and socially have one or two and that be it. For me, every time I tried that, it failed miserably. For me, there's no such thing as I'll have one. I'll do one line. I'll smoke one joint. I'll have one whiskey. No. It's when I start, game over. And then as soon as I start, those fuck it comes in and I go off to the races. This one's a big one. I've done so much damage already. It can't get any worse. Or, what's the who cares? I've already hurt so much, done so much stuff. It could always get worse. It could always get worse. So, death, long-term prison, destroying, killing other people, families, drink driving, it could always get worse. I don't deserve to be happy. I've heard a lot of people, I don't deserve sobriety or happiness. That's one, kind of that self-loathing victim justification. This one, I know a lot of people I used it. I'm only hurting myself. What do you care? In reality, when I'm out there drinking and drugging, I'm destroying my family. My parents are worrying about me. Friends are destroyed worrying about me. People I work with are being let down. It's a lot more than just me. The not yets. Not yets are, there's so many people I've talked to who said they would slowly cross the not yets line. And that's something I did too. It's okay, I haven't ever been arrested for my drinking and drug use. Or, I haven't been fired yet for anything. Or I've never missed a day of work yet. Or, I've never had to dig in my savings yet for drugs. And those lines slowly get blurred and crossed and crossed and crossed. My not yets in the beginning started as, I'll never smoke cigarettes. I'll never do anything harder than alcohol and weed. By the end, my not yets were, I'm not going back to prison because I was in prison, injecting heroin and cocaine, smoking cigarettes. All that went way out the window over the course of years. If this is another one, if you dealt with what I dealt with, or if you went through what I went through, you'd be doing it too. People all across the world deal with pain, misery, depression, trauma, everything. That is not a reason, if you're choosing to get high or drunk, whatever, but to use that as an excuse to do it, no, because there's people who've overcame everything, stuff way worse than I've ever been through and most people have ever been through. So to say that it's just kind of a hopeless cause is, that's just not true. I could stop anytime I want. This is a big one. I could stop whenever I want. I just choose not to. And then most of the time, whenever the person does try to stop, they can't. And everyone else does it. Everyone else does it, and then, mom or dad come in. If everyone else jumped off a bridge, would you? The everyone else does it one we all hear, again, doesn't make it right. A lot of people are in jail for murder. Doesn't mean it's right to go out and kill somebody because, everyone else did it. Those 10 guys over there. So what can be done about justifications? Take a deeper look at yourself. Try to know what you're saying, what you're doing at the time, what excuses you're using. For someone in active addiction, this is pretty hard. So, but if you're not in active addiction, just justifications for daily life. Try to think about what you're saying. And for people that are in active addiction, you know, friends or family, don't let people slide on their lies. If you know they're lying to get money from you, call them out on it. If you know what they're saying is a blatant justification and lie, call them out on it. Don't enable them. You know, some people in my family would just, they know I was blatantly lying and they would just give me money to get out of there. Don't enable. That's not a good thing to do. And point their actions out, because many times, you know, we can't see, like, I can't see my own negative behaviors or actions a lot of times, in or out of addiction. And if someone else points it out to me, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's a good point. I'm sorry, or I didn't know I was doing that, or I didn't know I was saying that. So point it out to them and try to show them the bigger picture, the bigger window. All right, that's a video on justification, excuses, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you hit that like, that subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps Sober Dogs get more content out there. Now I'm getting in the car because I'm freezing. See ya.